Hey everyone, let's talk about something that I know keeps a lot of app developers up at night. You build an amazing app, you launch it, and then nothing. So why isn't anyone downloading it? Well, a lot of the time, the answer comes down to a few really common, but super costly, mistakes in your App Store optimization.
You spent months, maybe even years, pouring everything you have into this thing you're so proud of. You hit that launch button, you lean back, and you wait. And you hear crickets. It is so frustrating, right? And look, this usually doesn't mean you have a bad app. It just means you're invisible in a sea of millions of other apps. But here's the good part. Fixing that is completely in your control.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll look at 4 big blunders. First up, what I call the keyword catastrophe. Then, we'll dive into how you might be wasting your most valuable metadata. After that, we'll talk about the set it and forget it trap. And finally, and this one's huge, forgetting that there's an actual human on the other side of that screen.
Okay, let's kick things off with the absolute foundation. That 100-character keyword list in App Store Connect. You know the one. It looks so simple, but believe me, this is the #1 spot where developers just completely shoot themselves in the foot. They're basically throwing away their best shot at telling the App Store's algorithm, hey, this is what my app does.
So check this out. This is exactly where things go off the rails. On the left, you see what tons of people do. They write it like a sentence. Photo editor, space, comma, best photo editor. That is a massive waste of space. Now look at the right. That's how you do it. Think of it like a list of tags. Every keyword is separated by a comma. No spaces, no repeating words, just bam, bam, bam. Look how many more valuable keywords you can cram in there.
So if you want to get this right, you have to be absolutely ruthless with those 100 characters. Here are the big don'ts. 1. Don't use spaces. Ever. Commas only. 2. Don't repeat keywords that are already in your app's title or subtitle. It's just redundant. 3. Don't use worthless filler words like the, a, or even the word app. 4. Don't use plurals. The algorithm is smart enough to handle that. And finally, 5. Don't put your own brand name in there. Apple already knows it. It's a complete waste of precious characters.
Okay, so you've got your keyword list sorted. Now let's talk about the real battleground, your app's name and its subtitle. You get 30 characters for each. Those 60 characters combined, they are, without a doubt, the most powerful real estate you have in the entire App Store. They carry more weight with the ranking algorithm than anything else.
And you might think, oh, everyone knows this. Well, think again. An audit of over 70 apps turned up some pretty shocking stats. Get this, 38%, almost 4 out of 10 apps were duplicating keywords. And just as bad, 37% weren't even using all the space they were given. They are literally leaving free ranking power on the table. It's crazy.
Now here's a sneaky little mistake that can cost you big time. Let's say the keyword phrase people search for is app analytics. So you put analytics app in your title. You might think, same words, what's the difference? Well, to the algorithm, it's a huge difference. The order matters a lot. So if you're targeting a specific phrase, you have to get the order exactly right. Don't flip it around.
Okay, want to hear a real pro tip? The folks over at AppFigures found an actual bug in the App Store's algorithm. Listen to this. If you use a special character, like the ampersand, the algorithm actually reads it as 2 characters, not 1. So if you use an ampersand and you fill up all 30 characters, guess what? Your very last character gets cut off. It just gets ignored. The takeaway? If you're going to use a special character, play it safe and stay at 29 characters or less.
All right, this next mistake is less about a specific field and more about your whole approach. So many developers fall into this trap. They treat App Store optimization like it's just one more box to check on the launch list. Do it once and you're done. But that's not how it works. The App Store is a living, breathing battlefield. Your competitors are updating constantly. ASO is a process, not a project.
The developers who are really crushing it, they live by this cycle. It's a constant loop. You start by researching and coming up with a new set of keywords you think will work better. A few weeks later, you push those changes live. Then comes the tough part. You wait. You got to give it 4, maybe 6 weeks for the data to come in. Then you analyze the heck out of it. See what moved the needle. And guess what? You start the whole process over again.
It's a grind for sure, but it's how you stay on top.
And you have to remember, you are not alone out there. It's easy to only think about the apps that do the exact same thing as you. But in ASO, your competitor is anybody ranking for the keywords you want. It could be a totally different kind of app. The algorithm is always comparing you to them, so you've got to keep your eye on them constantly. You can't afford to ignore them.
Okay, we've arrived at our final and, honestly, maybe the most important mistake of all. You can do everything else right. You can master the keywords, climb all the way to the top of the search rankings, and still get no downloads. How? Because you forgot about the most important part, the human being who has to actually be convinced to hit that get button.
I want you to really let this number sink in. Fewer than 2%. 2% of users ever read your app's full description. That's basically nobody. So what does that mean? It means your screenshots are everything. They are your sales pitch. They need to tell a story and fast. Don't just show a boring menu. Use captions, use callouts, use bold text to scream the benefit. Sell the outcome, not just the buttons.
And right alongside your screenshots is your star rating. That little number is a powerful signal of quality, and not just to users. The App Store's own editorial team looks at it. You want to get featured by Apple? And trust me, you do. Well, you better have a high rating. One study found that an incredible 92% of all featured apps have a rating of 4.0 stars or higher. It's basically your ticket to the game.
At the end of the day, it's all about trust. A high rating builds instant trust, and it directly impacts whether someone downloads your app. I mean, just think about your own behavior. You're looking for an app, you see two that look pretty similar. One has 4.5 stars, the other has 3. It's a no-brainer, right? You're downloading the one with more stars every single time. So ignoring your ratings and reviews, it's just not an option.
So there you have it. The 4 biggest ASO mistakes that are probably costing you downloads right now. We covered the keyword catastrophe, wasting precious metadata, the set it and forget it trap, and forgetting about the human on the other side. But here's the best part. Every one of these is totally fixable. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know what to look for, what's the very first thing you're going to fix?